So Arslaikus would be a name that would be recognized by other Scientologists because it was part of
the
common...
here.
Oh, okay. Why don't you read it from the technical dictionary?
Sure. I thought it was. It isn't. It isn't. I thought it was.
But where does it figure in Scientology mythology?
In what?
In Scientology mythology.
Mythology! What a suppressive thing to say.
Okay, what word would you prefer me to use?
Scientological track history.
Okay, in Scientological track history.
Mythology. Oh, boy. Don't do that to me, please.
Okay.
You want me to like you?
In track history.
Okay. Well, here it is. This is a track map, which is not only for me. It's used by Scientology to track incidents. And here it is. This is not.
So Arslaikus is a place that every Scientologist who had been processed to the level that you had been processed
would have had some interaction with.
Okay. What are some other common place names or common experiences?
Markhab. In fact, here, Markhab, I think, is for sure in here. And needless to say, I didn't look them up because I know them so well. Markhab Confederacy. Okay? Various planets united a very vast civilization which has come up forward through the last 200,000 years. Now that's wrong, because on my track, it was 4 billion years ago, and it was destroyed by Christ.
Was Markhab a place written about by Hubbard in some of his science fiction writings?
I don't think so.
So do you have any idea how it gets into the dictionary?
Well, because of a lot of... first of all, I'll tell you how. It was on St. Hill Special Briefing Course number 291, which is here. Yeah, I see it. Hold on a moment. It's on a tape called Auditing Com Cycles, Definition of an Auditor, which is St. Hill Special Briefing Course 291, done on the 6th of August, 1963.
And what does Hubbard say about it on that tape?
He said it was a decadent, kicked-in-the-head society with much of the same type of things you see on Earth. In fact, what is the dictionary? It probably has that here. Ah, here it is. It's a sort of a decadent, kicked-in-the-head civilization that contains automobiles, business suits, fedora hats, telephones, spaceships, a civilization which looks almost exactly like a duplicate, but is worse off than the current U.S. civilization. It's right here.
Let me ask you this. Since your time track differs from what is in that book.
Right. Only the dates are wrong.
How did you come upon your time track? Through the e-meter?
No, through the auditor, through my auditing.
Okay, but did he use the e-meter?
Yeah.
So it was the e-meter that was verifying the time?
Yeah, we went through different interactive cycles where Christ was a part of destroying civilizations that I had lived on. That was the essence of the search.
Did Christ keep coming up in your time track?
No, not at all. He came up once before this time. And that occurred at the very beginning when it's my whole write-up on... This is actually a KR, a knowledge report, this book. And in my chapters of the Holy Book of Life called Creation and Illusion, the first experience I had with Jesus Christ, who suppressed us and trapped us in our physical bodies, is all outlined in the book. All of this data, by the way, in the book, is based on auditing cycles.
Through the e-meter.
Through the e-meter, except I didn't say that in the book because I didn't want people to know that it came from Scientology.
Why?
Because I want them to get the data at the appropriate time. Once they see this book and they know the data, eventually I will come forward and tell them that show them with the meter For example, when people talk to me later on, after the book is well accepted, I'll bring my meter on television and I'll show them exactly that I was his father.
So all the content of what's in that book are realizations that you had...
Cognitions. Let's use the right terminology.
Sorry. Are cognitions that you had during auditing.
Exactly.
How would you... Can you just describe the process whereby you would arrive at a cognition? Pick one out of there, or just make, or do a hypothetical, and just describe the process whereby you would come to a cognition and come to recognize the truth of a cognition.
Well, there's many ways to do that. One, of course, is to do the formulas outlined in self-analysis. Here's an easy way. You come up with all the perceptics connected with the mental image picture. And the auditor will ask you, well, what did it smell like on that day? What was it raining? Who was around you? What voices did you hear? And eventually you synthesize everything to do with the mental image picture. You don't just have a Visio. You have a Visio which is more real than you're sitting in front of the auditor.
But how, for example, would you start out a session, and would the session progress back to the point at which...
Well, the first part of a session is seeing if there's any present time problems,
right,
doing your rudiments, you know.
Right.
And
so you'd be asked if there are any present time problems, there'd be no read on the meter, and you
right,
could go on.
Right.
Right. Then what would happen next?
We would establish goals for the session.
Okay. How would that occur?
Well, the auditor would ask me, what do you wish to accomplish in this session?
And then give me an example of what you might say.
Well, I would say, here's an example. I'd like to find out why I didn't like milk.
Okay, and then what would happen next?
And then we would discuss, the auditor would direct me to view certain incidents in my lifetime regarding somatics on milk.
Okay, so
we would go to the earliest incident.
All right.
We'd run it like an engram.